Welcome back to the channel. So this is another one of my videos where I catch up with what I've done over the last couple of years, and this is Epic Battles American Civil War. This is kind of what set the channel off exploding in terms of subscribers and stuff. And over the course of the year I've gone back and did bits of this army. Now we're getting ready for a campaign in the new year. This is December 2023, and I thought I was going to have to play Confederacy, but it looks like we're playing Union. So I had a big push last month to get enough stuff done for the campaign, and then I found out probably the numbers mean I'm going to be playing Union. But anyway, this is a Confederacy. I'm going to talk a bit about what I've done so far and what needs to be done. There's not a lot left to do. So primarily, this is Warlord Games plastics, and I've used Callistra metal to support it. I've talked a lot about that in other videos, but if I do repeat myself, you know, I'm just assuming that people might not have seen the videos before. What's left to do with these models is going to be a bit of grass work done on the bases, and that's about it, and a few more regiments and command stands to do. But let's start off with the overall army, what we're going to see and what we're going to talk about. So, dismounted cavalry. If my camera doesn't stop being loose on its tripod. So the cavalry, dismounted cavalry. So as you see there, I've got 9 bases of cavalry. These are Callistra cavalry. I have had Callistra Union stuff, so I had some spare to carry over. As you see there, I've used 4 models on a base, and I've used slightly wider bases than infantry. So I think they're 30 by 20 mil bases. I've also done some separate horseholder standards. One of the things I wanted to do when I did this army was make it able to be used by a variety of rule sets. So one of the things I've done there, and I've done a video about this, I've done some wee half bases. So let's say a rule set has individual bases and take them off as casualties. What I'll do is start all my units off with even numbers, and then as I take casualties I should be able to replace bases through as I get taken off. So let's say I've got 3 bases that would represent 6 smaller stands. I'll lose a stand, swap out one for that one. So I can use different sets of rules. You know, different sets of rules bring different challenges and tactics, and some are more granular than others. And I've played quite a few American Civil War rules over the years, so it just gives me options for not a lot of extra work or effort. Some spare units that are waiting for more command stands. So yeah, and that's why I've got separate horseholder standards. Some rules might have dismounted cavalry requiring horseholder bases and dismounted cavalry. So now comes to the main bit, the infantry. So at the moment I have got 16 regiments done. Obviously I'm using the 3 bases per regiment. I quite like the fact there's 2 standards. I'm able to put sort of a Army flag, Army of North Virginia, and a state flag there. Some of my Callistra front rank bases, they've only got 1 standard, in which case I've opted for the state flag, I believe. So this will form the bulk of the army, and by the time I finish there'll be another 4, so I'll be 20 regiments, and some specialist ones which I'll talk about in a wee bit. I am going to be refighting Antietam from the Black Powder 2 main rule book in the new year, so I'm looking forward to that. Fortunately now there's other players, so I won't have to produce all the armies myself. The other thing which is really nice about this is getting to learn state flags. So I must admit my knowledge of state flags is pretty weak, but what I've been able to do, he says, is he pulls over the one. I've not written on the bottom what the state flag is. What I was doing was writing on the back what all the state flags were, so I could learn them as I go. So that is what I've done so far with the infantry, and honestly I think en masse they look brilliant on the tabletop. Absolutely delighted with the Epic Battles project. Now, the other thing I've got to do is significantly more brigadiers. As I say out there, I've got 2 stands done, but I do have lots of those in progress. I've talked about this a lot. I've done a Confederate unit with kepis. Stand out as an elite unit, or I've used them as a VMI, Virginia Military Institute, for my battles of Newmarket. Now, I've done some skirmish units in skirmish out, just in case I need them for scenarios. Again, slightly wider bases. I've kind of modelled the 2 modelled them in pairs, 1 loading, 1 firing, how skirmishers operate. And actually, that's a good case in point, is if you're looking at in-game terms, theoretically, they both represent the same thing. Yeah, a unit, a stand, they could quite happily represent the same thing. But for linear tactics, which Civil War was, and formed regiments and stuff, I just think this just looks so much better than this. And don't get me wrong, for years I had units looking like that, 4 models on a base. But yeah, epic battles, I think, just look so good. When we've been playing them at the club, we played some big multiplayer games, and it just looks so good with the lines of troops fighting out against each other. And finally, the artillery. So as you can see there, I've got 12 guns. Generally, we just use 2 guns for a battery. The Confederates, when we play, never have large batteries. Union will sometimes have 3-gun large batteries. So that would easily cover 6 brigade attachments of artillery. And the other thing, not finished, we've been working on, is the limbers. Now, the thing about artillery is they actually take up a lot of space. Depth-wise, by the time you bring in limbers, horses, Cassians, extra ammo. So one of the things it does, it lets us show that artillery units are limbered up. But if these are deployed behind deployed stuff, it just gives you a sense of size that batteries had that's not always represented on the tabletop. So anyway, this is my Confederate army. So close to getting finished, but I'm going to have to concentrate on my Union, and I am painting epic battles pike and shot as we speak. This is December 2023. But there you go, that is an army, and I have the same again in the Union. It's just not quite all the basing done on it. But anyway, hope you're having a great time at the moment. Let me see what you've been doing with your epic battles and wargaming, and I'll catch you again. Goodbye.